Alright, so here's what happened. We're going to need engine for the car. That engine. I ordered the wrong bearings. Had to order the right bearings. These are 10 thousandths undersized bearings. These are 20 thousandths undersized because the journal that the crankshaft sits on has been bored down to get rid of any scratches and whatever else. So it's been taken down a little bit, so it's not the standard size. I needed smaller bearings in there. So we're throwing standard size bearings, different ones in there. And then we're gonna do these two, rotate, see if it binds or anything. We'll do these two, rotate, see if it binds, so on and so forth. And then finally, I've got to clean the oil pickup tube up because it sat underwater, so I need to clean it. I might just grab a different one I have. And when I put it on, it goes on like that. What we'll do is throw some tack welds around it, hold it in place and stop it from sucking to the bottom, which is what it did, and then ultimately it actually fell off. So I lost a ton of oil pressure. And then we can put that back on. I gotta flip some of these pistons around because you can't really tell, but on the connecting rod there's a beveled edge. So you got your piston rod, so you got a beveled edge, it's kind of like that, and then you got a flat one on this side. Well, those beveled edges go to the outside of the crank because it's not a perfect smooth cutoff right there. It's kind of beveled with it, so you got to put that bevel to the outside. I learned that one the hard way because, you know, it's my first time building an engine. We're gonna do that, and then hopefully put new head gaskets on, or new heads on. Not new, but the heads go back on. Have it buttoned up, ready to go, ready to rock as soon as it's ready. I'm gonna clean up this fuel line stuff. It's kind of gross and ugly, and then we will keep cleaning this up because when I ran it, the rear main seal was in backwards, and it just was dumping oil out the back of this thing. It was throwing it everywhere because it was hitting the flex plate because I was running it on a run stand, and the flex plate throwing oil everywhere. So I'm gonna respray it all, make it look nice and pretty again, make this white, not oil soaked garbage. But that's what's happening today, and then hopefully get the windshield back in because it's ready to go. It's awful. I got a new bit slathered on there, fill up any little missing pieces, and then we have more paint because it's paintable caulking, so we're gonna spray it back down. I gotta clean up this. It's a little ugly right there and it fits weird, and we'll throw that on and go about our day. So I'm having some issues. These two, new bearings in, torqued, everything, rotated fine. Second ones, so 3 and 4, in, rotated all right, torqued everything, good. These two, had to switch pistons around. Not happy. It was furious about that. Did not like it. So I'm just gonna take them all out, start from square one, so that I can't screw it up. Nothing's wrong. They're all in the right place because I don't know what's going on here, but it is getting old really quickly. So if I start from the top, can't be wrong. But otherwise, it's going well. Just time consuming, makes my back hurt real bad because I'm leaning over this thing all the time. But that is what it is. Alrighty, got all the pistons out, lined up correctly. So evens are always on the passenger side or the left side of the block. Odds are always on the driver's side or the right side of the engine on Chevys. So I got all these out. These ones have new bearings. These forward 6. These ones need the new bearings put in. Got them all out. So while I'm here, I'm gonna clean all of this up. I'm gonna clean this because I had some crap sitting in it. Just making sure all these are clean. Clean up all the bores because number 8 here had a bunch of crap sitting in it from sitting so long. I'm gonna clean all that up, make it look all pretty. And then we will get back to you once this is all back together. So, fun. I have a little teaching moment here. So this right here is a 400 small block Chevy. casting numbers for small block Chevys are 811, 509, and 511. 509 is a truck motor, 2-bolt main. A 511 is a truck motor, 4-bolt main. It's a little heavier duty applications, even though the 4-bolt didn't mean crap in this thing. The 4-bolt was actually a weaker engine because of the block webbing. Where the main bolts up to, that part, the actual block, was weaker because of the 4 bolts. So the 2 bolts are actually stronger. And then it's an 817. 817, I believe, is a car motor. That one is a car motor and it's a 2-bolt main only. I actually have one sitting over here. We're not going to be able to see the casting number, it's upside down. But that's an 817 block, I believe it is. I know it's a car motor, but I believe it's just the casting number is 817, the last 3. But the 400s were unique because they have these little holes right here. See the little one? Every one? So, those are actually called steam ports. And that's because these blocks are they put such a big piston in them, a big bore, that the cylinders are actually Siamese, which means they're connected. There's no coolant between these. Where with the normal small block Chevy, literally any other one, there's coolant that flows between them. But because this is Siamese, coolant would get trapped in here and it would steam. And so what it does is it allows that steam somewhere to escape instead of getting stuck there. Allows it to escape and you don't run into overheating problems. Fun debate if you want to ever have an argument with an old timer that built these. Tell them these are important or they're not important, because they will fight like no other. It is one of the biggest small block Chevy arguments on the internet. But I had this built by a professional engine builder, and he said you can run them without it, but heavy traffic, hot weather, they will get warm on you. So I just had my heads drilled for them to have the steam holes, because I wanted to play it safe, because there's a lot of money wrapped in this thing, so I didn't want to go messing nothing up. So I did it all steam ports in there, because only 400 heads have steam ports in them. No other small block Chevy head has them. So if you go to put new heads on it, be cautious of that. It's a big one. I haven't ran this thing long enough to even notice anything, but yeah, little fun fact information for you. Well, we're a little farther along than I had imagined, but we're done. I put all the pistons in, everything, got all that done, and worked perfectly fine after I redid it. I don't know what was wrong the first time, but it didn't like it. Got everything sprayed purple now, because originally the heads weren't colored. I didn't paint the heads. There was mist spots, there's paint cracking, so she's all done. I just gotta recolor my pulleys and go from there. I gotta put all the valve train in still, but wait on paint to dry now, quite literally. Alright, so small problem. This is my supposed to be my window silicone. It is it's not window siliconing, so I'm going to figure something else out. Everything's ready. It just needs glued and dropped on. I got all this ready. I'm going to get up underneath there, start cleaning some of the stuff back there. Transmission, cross members, stuff like that. And then I got the savable front fender all cleaned up and painted here. So just knocking little things out, so once I'm ready to put it all together, it's good to go. Keep finding little spots to touch up on the frame here and there, like up in there, those areas, stuff like that. It's slow moving. Engine's done. I just need a transmission for it, or a intake. And then I need my interior. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, though. No idea. I want to go dark because the car's going to be a little darker colored, but not sure how. Should be an interesting thing, oh, I need to put the this stuff back in my engine. That's an important thing. Alright, so today's ordeal is valve train. Get all the valve train in this thing. Now that all the paint's nice and dry, looks good, it's all shiny purple. It's gonna look excellent right there. So, valve train, get it in. I got the cross member painted. Cleaned that up yesterday. Looking all pretty and stuff. So, I'm gonna test fit some stuff today. But I need to, first off, just get the motor mounts off of the 307. And then I realized with this 700 R4, since it came out of a Camaro, they're not a full frame car and they're wonky. So they have a brace that mounts right here. It goes all the way to the rear end, and it's just a bar that connects the rear end of the transmission that acts as a brace. A truck 700 R4 would have the mount would be underneath of it. So I now have to make a custom mount out of that to make it fit onto this cross member. So it goes in like this. Nope, it goes in like this. Sits like this. So I'm gonna take some sheet metal, or I got some 1/4 inch steel, and I'll probably just use these bolts here on the sides, and I'll make a brace like that and then have it come down and put some holes in it so that I can adjust it and mount it to this, so I can make that work. Because I don't feel like getting another transmission and having this one sit around. I've got it, make it work. It's not that difficult. So that's on the agenda for today. I got my radiator mount core support bushings yesterday, but I'm still going to wait to put those on because I'd like to get the transmission and engine fully seated before I really start putting the front end back together. But yeah, that's the old agenda today. Not a whole lot else going on. Pretty slow moving at the moment. So I got all this taken off. Simple, easy. I put a new seal in here because the old one had actually torn. Kind of see it right there. Yeah, it had torn, so that would have been an oil leak. So glad I'm digging into this thing. I just I had to take the pan off to get the timing cover because of the gasket that seals to the pan, seals around this, and then it sticks into the pan, so you can't get the timing cover off without dropping the pan, which is a little annoying because in big block Chevys you don't have to, because they just have a bolt right here. Boop, unbolt that, and then you take the timing cover off without dropping the oil pan, I believe. Don't quote me on that one. But got in here. This is perfect, just the way you want it. Extremely tight, ready to go. So when you're putting a camshaft in, you're putting new timing chains or whatever, I've got this fancy kit, so it comes with different notches because you have these things on the crank. Can't remember what they're called at the moment, but you have them, and you can change them depending on what you're feeling like. So I just have mine at standard, and dot, you're gonna put dot to dot, and then what you'll do is you'll rotate the crankshaft one full turn. It's a half turn of the one full turn of the crank is a half turn of the timing gear, cam gear. And true top dead center is dot up, dot up. Sorry about the poor lighting. Dot up, dot up. That's how you can tell where everything's at in the sequence of running. So now all I have to do is put this back together, not touch the crank, and then number 1 cylinder is at very top dead center, ready to be timed. Engine will fire off immediately as long as everything else is good. Like, you know, fuel, air, carburetor, timing, spark. It should be boom, right on. It should start right up, no problem. And then you can time going from there wherever else you want. But little quick tip on this stuff. I want to try to get a different fuel pump set up because this is ugly. I might try to get some like actual line or something, but we'll see how that goes. So also, we didn't realize that the pan was dirty as all can be when I put it on, so I gotta clean that up real quick. Alrighty, valve train is in. Don't take any advice from me on this stuff because I'm not a professional. Hell, I messed this one up the first time I built it, but you learn from your mistakes. But got all these adjusted about the way I want them. So what you're gonna do when you do this is how I've seen it done and how I'm going to attempt this one. So lifters are in, greased, assembly lube the crap out of these things. Then your push rods, your rocker arms and all that stuff. And then what I did to do this was put them all on, seated them down with my little impact there because it's so much quicker than doing it by hand. And then I started at top dead center, tightened them up until they were all tight, and I could spin the push rod with effort. And then I did a quarter of a turn, so the dot would be right there. Quarter turn, did it all again. Quarter turn, so it'd be at the bottom, did it all again. 3/4 right there, again, top, checked it. So this should be good to go. Of course it's going to change. It's just going to be a little different once these lifters all have oil in them and they're pumped up. But this is good enough for first start. I can do it better elsewhere or later once I'm done with all this stuff. So there we go. That's how I did that. Now it's just to put the valve covers back on, button this up, throw something over this, call it a day on this. And then I might attempt to find a mount, because I just realized that this right here, I believe, is the mount for like a normal 700 R4 that doesn't go in a Camaro. So I think I just put a new mount on there and then bolt up to the transmission mount, so I don't have to make anything custom, hopefully, because it's not my strong suit, but I can do it if it needs to be. And then I'm going to test fit everything. I'm going to clean this up a little bit so I can get these lines off, get this crap out of here. I'm going to vacuum up all the gunk and then get ready to send it to the shop. I might call a shop today, see about getting 2 of my transmissions rebuilt. See if they give me a discount on 2. But yeah, I'll try to get this sucker off the stand, put my flex plate back on it, and then, we'll go from there. Once I clean it up a little bit, I might even bolt it up to this, throw it in to see how it sits, where it's going to sit, how it's going to work, and go from there. But fun times, fun times. Well, I'm not going to be getting a whole lot of work done at the moment because as you can tell, I have no lights. My power is out and the camera is making it look a lot brighter than it is. It is very dark in here. Storm rolling through. So I got the Pontiac in here because I'm almost at a stalemate on the Chevelle without some new parts coming in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start prepping this for paint, sanding everything, getting all this trim off, leaving most of it because I'm really not that worried. I'll just tape it off. But getting it ready for paint. There's my fender for it. This one will be its own separate video. So that's some body work to do, some cleaning up, little stuff here and there. But yeah, I got all the accessories painted on the for the Chevelle. They were ugly white. Ignore the loud noises. They were white, now they're black. The white it picked up too much garbage and looked bad, so I think matte black will match the rest of this and look pretty alright. But, yeah, there it is. Alright, getting finished up here. I'm going to put the spark plugs back in here in a second. Accessory drives back on. All painted up, look good. I think the black's better than that white. But I need to get my power steering pump. Since it's going in this car, I'm going to use the original power steering pump and bracket. So I need to excavate the bolts on this thing to try and get all this stuff off and out so that I can take it apart, paint it, get it put on the engine. And then I've been piddle paddling, so I haven't gotten around to cleaning this up enough to get all these fittings off. Take that off, try to get the rest of the fluid out of it so I can tip it, turve it, whatever I need to do to get it to figure out where it wants to be in there with that. I do need to find the other bolt because classic me, I lost it, no idea where it went. So I have to find the other one or another bolt to replace it. And then yada yada, you know how it goes. Set it in, see where it wants to go, how it wants to sit, and we'll go from there. Yeah, not doing a whole lot. Power just come back on, which is nice. But yeah, got the oil filter on. She's pretty much ready to rock. I just need to get an alternator and the power steering on it, and then some belts. And then as soon as it goes in, it's ready to rock. I could just break it in because it's got a hydraulic flat tappet cam, and we'll go from there. You know what I mean? It's coming along, coming along. I've been cleaning the ever-loving crap out of everything. I got that pump off. It's currently drying. That thing was a disaster mess. Pulley's off. Currently drying as well. I cleaned up the original hose because it looked like being in good shape. I got it shiny again. Got as far as I cared to on those because those were pretty crusty. But they look much better. The rubber part actually cleaned up pretty well too, just with some of the cleaner I use. I may end up getting another one because it's pretty cracked, but it'll do the job for now. But run into an issue. Here's the bracket that it mounts to. There's the holes that it mounts to. I don't know about you, but those don't line up. I can't get them to because the 400 balancer is bigger than the 307 by quite a bit. You know, it's only 2.6 liters, or no, 1.6 liters more. So dampeners, I gotta figure something out with that. Am I gonna go to a different power steering pump bracket or whatever? But I might be able to find another balancer for cheap, a smaller one, but we will have to see. And in the meantime, yeah, just been cleaning stuff up, getting everything ready. Not much else to report, but yeah, that's what's going on. Pretty slow going. My back's starting to hurt. I had to shut it down early yesterday for my back, but we're getting there. Almost. It's almost. This is the closest it's been to a complete engine since I first put it together. So, take what I can get. You know, I gotta say, there's nothing like ingenuity. Didn't fit because it was too thick. Guess what? Just cut her down. Cut her down to size. So now I got it cut and it fits perfectly. It's close tolerances, but this isn't going to have enough play to hit it, the balancer, so we're perfect. We'll just, and if I find out that it needs a brace, I can tack weld some crap in, make it work. It'll be perfect. I'm not that worried about it. It's a really thick bracket, so I don't think it's going to go doing anything funky on us, so all good there. About to call it for the night. Too old for this shit, so we'll let that stuff dry and then maybe put it on tonight. I'm going to reassemble this tonight, and then I got to cut a new length of hose for the return. And speaking of the return, I have no idea. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I do have an idea where it's at. It's right there. The return has no pressure, so just regular hose and hose clamps works fine. But the pressure ones is the ones you're going to worry about. You got to have correct ones. But, yep. Well, boys, we did it. We have an accessory drive. Alternator, power steering, water pump. That's all you need right there. We got this thing all buttoned up. I had to cut off all of this and then through there. And then I cleaned that up with a little bit of the grinder. I didn't take that down because I really didn't care. But the rear bracket for this, the one where you're supposed to be able to adjust it from, doesn't work with this setup. It requires the full setup off the old engine. I don't know where that is. So I have 2 bolts on this because it's meant to have 2 bolts. So you could kind of see that one right there. And then you've got this stud on the back that sits in there. So I just held this over while I torqued the crap out of that thing and the front one. And it's sturdy. It ain't going nowhere. And then I had to get a different pulley for here. I actually had to take it off of my 454 right there because the one I had, singular, wouldn't work because that would mean I had to have a belt that just just worked for this to this. I don't have any that small, and I rearranged the shop and lost my other bunch of belts, so I was able to just use both the belts off of that engine because it's going nowhere anytime soon. So now I've got all ready to go. Now I really just plop an intake on this sucker, carb distributor, and she is ready to rock. But, you know, I'm still figuring out a fan. I'm probably going to want to use a clutch fan, mechanical, because really I don't care about the 2 horsepower it robs. So we're going to just go with the mechanical fan, and less wiring the better. I hate wiring, and I hate that I'm good at it. So everybody wants me to do it for them. But here it is. Set up, ready to rock. Now I just gotta, tomorrow or something, come in here, put the cross member back in, and then bolt that sucker up to this thing, and get some bolts to dangle this thing from, and start test fitting, see how that goes, and we'll see from there. Once I hit a complete stalemate on this thing, this is going to be the priority, because it was originally the original priority, but transmission didn't work out for me, so I had to pull that sucker again and see if I can't cut me a deal and get 2 transmissions rebuilt, that one and the ones in this thing. But there it is. She's ready to rock, darn near. Ugh, so crusty. Alright, we got it test fitted. Engine's where it's supposed to be. I got this thing buttoned up. I took the alternator off and some other little things. I wanted to clean up the alternator, make it look all shiny and pretty and new again. Because, I mean, shiny engine, you don't have a shiny alternator, you know what I mean? But, took that all off. I had the transmission bolted up. It is currently sitting where it will sit whenever it's fully ready to go. Everything's buttoned up, running into no clearance issues. I've got the trans cross member put in and mounted where it needs to go. That's what I love about these GM cars, is that it was just made for everything. Whatever you wanted. And you could just move it back and forth. And even this, like, this is a transmission that wasn't made for another 20, 30 years. And it just goes right in. I'm going to have to get the transmission mount, the rubber adapter, and get that on. And then I'm going to have to do some willy-nilly stuff with that because it's not perfect and I can't get it to be perfect. This is as close as it's going to get until I figure out what's going on there. Everything fits really well though. No clearance issues. Plenty on the tunnel cover, or not the tunnel cover, but the trans tunnel and the transmission. Everything fits nicely. Got plenty of room here. Power steering, perfect. Not going to run into any issues there. But here we go. That's what it's going to look like right there. I'm going to have to find some probably specialty A-body headers for this because it's a little tight how it sits in here. So I will have to mess with that a little bit. And in all honesty, I probably could just move these motor mounts because they're adjustable. They're slotted, so I could just loosen these up a little bit and then push them back and retighten them. And that would line up that perfectly, but to get to these is obnoxious because they're actually nutted bolted and you have to get inside of the front cross member and you only have a few little bitty holes underneath there to get to it. So we're gonna leave that be. But now that this is all in and good to go, next step I think is going to be wiring. I'm probably just going to leave this here until I'm ready to get the transmission rebuilt. Keep everything out of my way so I don't have a bunch of crap laying around. But yeah, here soon I'm going to knock out these little things like fuel line. This fuel line actually goes through the frame here. Get fuel lines knocked out. I'm going to have to run a return line because this is a return pump and I would like the return instead of just feeding it and not having a backflow option. But here we are. Should look perfect. Go really well. Once everything's in, that purple engine's really going to pop with the black everything else. Also, this is way better looking than the white, in my opinion. I just need to obtain me an intake. I've got distributors and carburetors, and we're good to go. Next step, once the transmission... Ooh, I could probably get the drive shaft sized. I'll take either the original one or this one that came out of that Camaro and make that work. Shouldn't be too hard. Should be relatively easy. But, yep. I took the bumper off. Made it so much easier to get all that in there and work with it. Because I didn't have to raise the engine up to here and I could just slide it right on in. Alright, so I've been at work here. I've got headlight harness, charging harness, stuff like that. Alternator, all that stuff exposed completely. So I accidentally goofed up and cut that wire right there because I thought it was the brake light wire, like the warning brake light. Turns out it was not. It was actually a headlight wire, so that's awesome. Right off the bat, I found this brown wire has been cut. That was not me, but I'm gonna get this one reconnected, and then I'm actually going to pull this out of the firewall and see if I can't depin that and then put a new wire on it so I can reattach this one. But at the moment, I'm actually getting rid of all the voltage regulator stuff. So these two would plug into the alternator, and then they go to this little plug, which would go to the alternator voltage regulator on the, where is it at? The core support. It's over there somewhere. But I do not need this because I'm going to an internally regulated alternator. So all I need is 12 volts to one of these terminals. So one of them is for like a warning light saying you're not charging enough, and the other is the exciter, which means it's telling the alternator to charge. So what you normally would do anyways, like what you can do is you can just jump, I believe it's the top one, straight to this post, which would lead straight to the battery, and it will excite it. It could also cause a parasitic drain because it's constantly telling the exciter to start. So it could be a drain. Or what you could do is you could just run a little relay somewhere in there, and then as soon as you get power to the key, you get a relay, powers this on. That's a quick way to get rid of that without having to cause a parasitic drain. I will also be getting rid of the horn, because I'm not going to be using the horns. Not going to need it. So I can get rid of that, because these power wires here, these heavy ones, that doesn't look the best. It's pretty bad. So what I'll do is I'll just snip off the ones I don't need, which is the horn relay and the voltage regulator one. I believe I'll have to test it, but I think this might be a 12 volts positive, because if this is, then I can just run this wire straight to there, because it's already keyed, so we're good to go. There's a headlight, turn signal, little marker light, another headlight. So this is all stupid simple. I believe this goes to the alternator. This is the wire that's supposed to go there. So I will have to, I'll have to figure that out. I'm going to do some brainstorming. Wiring's not hard. It really isn't. It's just power here, power there. But one of these power wires runs along here, right there. And I think it may actually connect to the battery terminal, because I don't know where else it could go. It wouldn't make sense for it to go anywhere else. But I will get this all figured out. I might just end up relocating this wire over there, and then I could just not need any of this, really. I just need the one to go there, and then to the battery over there, and then they have the charge wire. So yeah, that should be pretty easy. Real easy. I got this. I also got to get rid of all these warning lights. So I think this might have been like a warning light temp gauge. I'm fairly certain this was like a warning light for the oil pressure. This is the transmission kickdown thing for a Turbo 400. So I won't be needing this anymore. I can get rid of that, cut that out. This is windshield wiper stuff. This, I believe, is the power to the coil. So I'm going to have to figure that one out, because it runs through a resistor somewhere. Because points run a resistor in line. So I'll get rid of this resistor. I'll find the resistor, get rid of it, and then I can just use this as the coil wire for my HEI ignition. But this is all stupid simple wiring. Really easy. Don't have to mess with much. I mean, it's just power to it, and that's it. Not like those new cars where you got 7 million wires and certain ohmage and resistances and disaster. This is what I live for. Easy wiring. So depinning these is actually incredibly easy, because these are all just spade connectors, and male and females. So all I had to do to get this to work was I had to get some of the gunk off of it, because they seal it all with goo, and then you literally just push it, pull it out, work it back and forth, and then you push it out, and then boom, it pops out, and this is what you're left with. This right here. Now, it's not the easiest thing to undo, because it's soldered and everything, but I should be able to get this relatively easily. I just really, little screwdriver, a pick maybe, and then some pliers to help undo it, and then I can throw a new wire on there with some length, call it a day, just like that. That's how easy it is. And then you just put a little more goo back on it, RTV, weather tight all over again. So ta-da, it's fixed. It's not the prettiest thing. I couldn't get that end piece because it's soldered in there, but I just crimped the sides around it and then wrapped the wire around it, and it'll do the job. Do the job just fine. Alright, I spent the last hour and a half in here working on this. So, I cut a bunch of unnecessary wires out of the bulkhead, like warning lights and all that stuff, and just miscellaneous crap. And then, also, since I am going to a digital dash, it's all electronic, with all its own everything, it just needs a power wire and the sensor wires. I cut out all of the gauge lights that would go into the back of the original cluster because I'm not going to use them and I don't ever plan on getting rid of this. So the only lights I have left are, this is high beam, low beam, the ignition switch. This is something, I think that might be radio power. I'm not too sure what this was, so I didn't cut it out. I believe this is a different light. It might be something else. But I don't think it's a warning light or anything of the matter. Here's the ignition switch. I rewrapped everything. Because, I mean, this thing was probably twice as thick as it is now. So I rewrapped everything, made it look nice and pretty, tucked away all these wires, figured out what goes where and why and how. Cleaned up just about everything. So I've already got my ignition system figured out as well. I should be able to use the key 12 volts because the, oh goodness. Oh, on a second note, that's all the excess wire that I ripped out. But, where did it go? Here it is. So, I believe I hooked it in. Yep, it's this yellow one. This light. There we go. Here it is. This one. This is the original 12 volts to the coil. Or not 12 volts, but the original power wire to the coil. And so GM apparently, on this car at least, didn't have a ballast resistor like inline. It was just a wire that was all fancy and stuff, and it resisted itself to lower the volts. So I should just be able to use this. This will be my 12 volts keyed. I left this because this is the Turbo 400 kickdown. In case I ever decide to switch back to the kickdown, I'm keeping the wire there and then the actual connector wire here in case I ever do want to switch. But so far everything else is done. I just need to I still got to figure out the signal wire to the starter because I have no idea where that's at, and I don't remember taking one out, and I didn't cut up any of this harness until just now, and there wasn't one on it. So, well, actually, nope, we're good. I just brain farted. This is the signal wire. This one right here. I don't know why it's so thick, but that is the signal wire. Because I remembered, usually, like most other GM stuff that I've worked on, that big thick wire right here usually went onto the big terminal with the battery, and then that's how it supplied the power. But actually all the power comes straight from the battery into the cab through this big red wire right here. Okay, so we're good. We're good. We're ready to go. I would like to hook a battery up and check all this stuff, make sure it all works and whatever else, but like, it's just too much work. I gotta put the bulkhead or the core support back on because there's grounds on there, and I don't have all the headlights because some of them are broken, yada yada yada. That's how it went. So now I really just need to hook these back up and run them and then put my wire loom over them. Boop. Look at that. I'm a mechanic.